How much trust should AK and Eversley realistically be given in the new direction that they could be heading the Chicago Bulls in? Talk a little bit about that before we dive into the mailbag. All that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today. And so, a lot of talk has been made over the last few days, basically since the Alex Caruso trade, on the new phase that the Bulls could be going into. Are they going younger? Are they going to be moving off a lot of the older players and prioritizing the young players? Or are they hoping to find a deal in the midst of all of this to really stay at a certain level of competitiveness that they can try to sell fans on, right? Or are they doing the thing that I think has been the thing that a lot of people have seen that the Bulls need to do, and that is at least retool majorly to take a small step backwards, take a longer term step forward, which something I've basically been saying for almost a year now when it comes to the Chicago Bulls team. While I've liked acquisitions that they've made, I like Torrey Craig for what he theoretically would have brought. He wasn't healthy enough. I loved Andre Drummond for what he brought to this team. A lot of the acquisitions that the Bulls have made have been solid acquisitions, but they were more so the acquisitions that you expect from a team that was going on deep playoff runs, or at least an actual playoff run, and was trying to add something to kind of get themselves over the top a little bit. And that just hasn't been with the Bulls. Then you've had signings that have not worked, as a la Tristan Thompson over the years that did not work. Javon Carter definitely did not work for this team, right? And then we have some that did work. Like adding Javonte Green after the buyout period was a huge shot in the arm for the Chicago Bulls. But the question that I want to ask here is, how much faith, realistically, does AK and good faith do AK and Eversley get when it comes to moving into the next phase of this team? And I'm of two minds with it. I got to give credit for AK and Eversley, how they came in. They used their first year on the job, not even a full year, to really evaluate the talent that they had on this roster. They decided to make a series of moves. They decided to move off Gafford, Wendell Carter, eventually Lauri Markkanen, and replace those with win-now pieces like Alex Caruso, Lonzo Ball, Nikola Vucevic, and DeMar DeRozan. And for the first 30 or so games of that team being together, that team was rocking and rolling. And I was one of the few that said during that time of, hey, this Bulls team is number one team in the East. We're probably not going to say number one team in the East with how we're playing, but that was a team that you looked at and said, hey, this is a good foundational first year, and let's see how they're going to build off of it. And then, unfortunately, in one game against the Golden State Warriors, Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball, different injuries went down in that game, and as they say, nothing was the same at that point for the Chicago Bulls. At that point, they were just trying to piece things together. Adding Patrick Beverley as a buyout candidate in 1 year, hoping that Ayo Dosunmu was going to be able to step up as the starting point guard, seeing the rise of Kobe White and the rise and fall and rise again of Ayo really over that time as well. The rise his rookie year, the fall after he became the starter, and in that year, and then the rise back up last year after really kind of figuring out how to play off ball and with Kobe White and things like that. Ayo Dosunmu hit a rise as well. Patrick Williams has been, for the most part, disappointing as far as progressing at the level that you would hope a number 4 overall pick could be. And then we just haven't seen enough of Dalen Terry or Julian Phillips or even Adama Sanogo either in that time. But you got to ask yourself, if moving to a new phase, especially if the Bulls are truly going younger, one of the biggest things in sustaining that and building something as far as a franchise that can be sustained and win, it has to come down as well to drafting correctly, picking the right young talent. And when you see, I kind of thought about that in the regards of the Josh Giddey trade as well, that maybe the Bulls, who reportedly didn't get offered any first-round picks in the 2025 draft, all of them were in 2024. And when you look at AK and Eversley in this draft, Josh Giddey is better than most of the prospects in this draft, and at least they have 3 years of NBA play from Josh Giddey to review it. And I'm not saying that at all ignores the fact of not getting any picks back for it, but I'm just saying maybe they understand their own limits. And so how much faith, to get back to the original question, do AK and Eversley get to move this Bulls team into a new phase truly, and not only move it into that phase, but come out on the other side of that successful? And that is where I don't know. I like I said, got to give them credit for what they initially built here and the vision that they showed and how those pieces work together. But once you took out one of those those Lego pieces, everything came crashing down. And they haven't really rebounded well from that at all, right? They've tried to do some things to piecemeal some things together that could work, but it hasn't really worked. And you've heard people say like the Josh Giddey, that gets them kind of back similar to Lonzo Ball. He's a very different player. Other than both being tall, lengthy guards, they're really not the same player at all. Lonzo Ball is one of the best corner three-point shooters in the league when he was healthy, and one of the better defenders both on ball and off ball. Those are things that Josh Giddey isn't. Now, offensively, maybe you could talk a little bit about that. We never really used Lonzo Ball as like a true half-court set up the offense type point guard, but in transition, things like that he did. And maybe Josh Giddey can simulate some of that again. When Josh Giddey did play point guard and he was kind of prioritized by the OKC Thunder, he had a solid season. And it was a season a lot of people thought, hey, he was going to be able to build off of. And then he came crashing down as well. Now, with all the case and things outside of basketball, maybe that plays a part into that. The human element I want to give some credit to as well. But overall, you got to look at AK, you got to look at Eversley, and also the limitations that you feel are there or not there by ownership as well, and ask them, can they be successful in moving this team into the new phase? If they're even really doing that. For all we know, a trade can come down today on Sunday that would turn this whole thing into a different outlook. But as it stands right now, if the Chicago Bulls are truly looking to change direction to go younger, if that's what they're looking to do, then the outlook of that is I got to give it time. Like you could see what Denver built, and we know that AK was a part of that. There's been now some doubt thrown on how much or how big of a say he had in that. But overall, if this team is going to go younger, they're going to have my faith, but it's going to be long. And I think that fans need to realize that if this team does truly go completely younger, we're looking at the best case scenario, and that's if they hit on this year's pick and they end up keeping next year's top 10 pick and hit on that pick, you're probably looking at 2 to 3 years before this team starts looking like something. And we could very well be through a phase again where we're the baby Bulls all over again, where they're the first initial onset of the Kirk Hinrich, Ben Gordon, Luol Deng Bulls, where it took some time. Now, that was a scrappy team, and they improved every single year, but let's not act like it didn't take some time. And if that's what this franchise is going towards, I need Bulls fans to be a little bit more calm in that regard, because I see a lot of you guys, and you guys want it now, and I understand it, the microwave mindset, all those type of things, I understand it. Right, we've been suffering for a long time already. To say, hey, let's embrace suffering a little bit longer sucks as a proposition. But that is where we are, unfortunately, as a franchise right now. And if the Bulls are truly going younger, it's not probably going to be a quick turnaround to get the Bulls where we all want them to be. It's going to take some time. And I'm willing to give AK and Eversley that time as long as it seems like they are building towards something. And when GarPax, that last run of GarPax, they were just drafting to try to get something to stick to the wall. They didn't really do it as like a vision. Whereas John Paxson, when he built that Luol Deng and Kurt Hinrich Bulls and things like that before they eventually got Derrick Rose, you could see as he was drafting how those pieces potentially could fit together, and then they developed for that to actually take place in reality. So it could be a long haul. And I think Bulls fans need to be prepared for this thing could take a long time for a period that we've already been in. I know that we're hoping for a quick fix. I know that we're hoping that we can get somebody or whatever else, but this thing could take a long time. And by that, I mean that we could be talking about 2 or 3 years of Bulls playing hopefully promising basketball where we're seeing players like Kobe and Ayo continue to develop. And I know that a lot of Bulls fans also have the mindset of, well, Kobe and Ayo have 2 years left before you got to extend them. Like you want to try to compete then. I mean, it may just be that because their current contracts are so small that when you do extend them, hopefully you have a lot of other young players that are on rookie scale deals at that point, and we're just looking and waiting for the development. That's my thought process. Just something that I was thinking on today and getting this episode together when I was downloading the voicemails and listening to the voicemails to set up for the show. I'm just like, one thing that I just need to keep nailing home is the fact that this thing could take a long, long while, and we'll see if we can come out on the other side of that better, if that's the direction they go. Like I said, one move going in a different direction, what we get back in the Zach LaVine trade, a surprise trade or something else for a talent that we didn't expect, could completely take everything that I just talked about in the last 10 minutes or so, ball it up and throw it away. But if the path that it seems like the Bulls are on is the path that they're going down, could be a long run for the Chicago Bulls. But you guys can let me know what you guys think on all that down below. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into the mailbag for today. It is Sunday, so it is mailbag day. This first voicemail is from Jamal, who's coming back. Let's go ahead and get into that now.
Yo, what's up, Hayes? It's your boy Jamal back again with another voicemail for you. I got 3 minutes. Let's get into it. So the Chicago Bulls went ahead and made a move, which is really, a shocker because I didn't expect them to do shit this offseason. I'm going to be honest with you. But they did. And they traded Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey. Now, me personally, do I like the trade? No. I don't hate it. I don't particularly like it either. I think they could have gotten a little bit more for Alex Caruso. And I think that's kind of what a lot of people's issue is with the trade, which is like, okay, you went and traded him for Josh Giddey, who is the 6'8" forward/guard who can get a playmaker bit, but he can't really shoot. He's not really known for playing good defense, things like that. But, he has a lot of upside and potential. We'll see where he goes. That's great. But then we heard rumors and things like that and stories that there were a lot of teams out there that wanted Alex Caruso and were offering major draft capital and things like that in exchange for him. And I think that's one thing that pisses a lot of Bulls fans off at this trade is like, if it's just a complete swap of Alex Caruso and Josh Giddey, it's like, do we really need to make this trade if we could have gotten something better? Even if we might not have gotten a player that we think is better than Alex Caruso now, getting a young player plus some draft capital could have been a nice little trade-off for us in the future. But, I don't make the moves. I just react to them. So I can't think of what the front office, I don't know what the front office is really doing. What I have realized is that my dad is a diehard Bulls fan, and I told him about the trade. And this man was straight shocked that we traded Alex Caruso from Josh Giddey. It was pretty funny, actually. But in talking to my dad about it, the one thing I've realized about Bulls fans is our mentality is that we view ourselves as a bigger market than let me rephrase this. We see ourselves as the big market destination spot that we want to be. We operate from a mentality of a small market team. And I think that goes all the way up from ownership to the coaching staff, if that's what you want to call it. If I'm being a little, sounding a little discombobulated, I just got to work something very tired. But basically, it's like we know that we're a big market franchise, yet we operate like we're a small-time team. And I think that's what pisses Bulls fans off mostly, because the trades that we do make don't seem to be big enough trades in our opinion. Like, a lot of Bulls fans want us to go trade for that star player like the Lakers can do without understanding that it's the Lakers and we're the Chicago Bulls and we have a different...
Listen, love all your points, right? The fact that you said you don't hate it, but don't like it either. Like, it is. It's a trade that you got to see how the rest of the roster is going to shape up and what direction the Bulls are going. As it stands right now, it brings about a lot of questions, right? And so I completely agree with what you say. We are a team that is in a big market and that people expect to make big market moves, but we don't operate like a big market team. We operate like a small market team. And I would go so far as to say kind of what I said in the first segment. Not only that, but sometimes this front office has made moves like they've already accomplished something, and we really haven't, right? So, hopefully this is a change of direction in that as well. And if it is, that can really help the Bulls kind of right this thing to get it back where we want it to be at. But we are a big market team, and I would love for us at some point to actually act like one. But it seems like that's only going to come if we're already a championship level team, and then we can pay to keep that, which building that is one of the most difficult things in the NBA, and we'll see if they can do that. But as far as the Josh Giddey aspect of it, I love your thought process, your whole just honestly on kind of the duality in the thinking on this trade, and that's where a lot of Bulls fans sit right now. We'll see what it ends up turning into. But thanks for Jamal. Shout out to Jamal for coming back as well. One of the OG guys around here who used to keep the mailbag popping every week. Don't hear as much from him anymore, but shout out to Jamal there. Let's get into this next voicemail. This one's from Corn.
What's the word, King? It's your boy Corn, man. And an official member of Chicago Bulls Central. I just had to do that, Trick. I just had to do that. I should have been a member a long time ago. My apologies for the delay. I'm one now, and you got one for life. Appreciate everything you do, like always. And shout out to everybody in the comments, man. I want to give a shout out to all of them, man. Giving me shout outs for the mailbag and all that, man. I appreciate y'all, good and bad. I appreciate y'all, man. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes here, brother, right? There's been a lot going on, right? AC and Giggity, right? Let's talk about it. I am happy. I am, man. I'm happy with it. Would I would have liked some draft conversation? Of course. But I am happy with the trade. I am not mad. Overall, I give the trade a B minus. You know what I mean? A B minus. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I give that trade. This is one of the trades that now we're going to see what's going to unfold the rest of the way. With this one, I believe it's just to be a major, like you said, a major retooling, almost like a blowing up. That's what I foresee. Bulls fans, strap up, man. This is going to be a very interesting and exciting off season. Is he going to agree with everything Anthony does? No, but I think that he's going to do what he did when he first got here. He's going to make some major moves. And I believe that there's a major retooling. And I like to thank AC. First of all, let me just get that out of the way because I got a little bit of time. Thank you, AC, Alex Caruso, for the years that you came, man. You are what a Bull is. You are what a Chicago Bull is, man. And I appreciate everything you did for me as a fan. Them game winners, them times, man. I love you, AC. You are what a Bull is. I am, you know what I'm saying, a blue collar worker like most of us. And we just ask for y'all to just show up and work. And that's what you did, Alex Caruso, as a Bull. And good luck for you, man. And you is Shaden Gilden Alexander. Good luck to you, King. I appreciate you. Thank you, Alex Caruso. And thank you, Hayes. Appreciate you like always, King. Love you. Blessings. See Red Nation.
Major retooling coming for the Bulls? That's the question. That's the question that everybody's asking, man. We'll see. And I love that you pointed it out that we're not always going to love what this front office does because we're not. And it needs to show some vision. It has to rebuild some good faith from this fan base. But let's hope that they can do it. I'm not going to bet against them because, again, they're running my favorite team. So I'm going to hope that they can actually get this shit together so that we can have a team that we're proud of, that we can build that's sustainable. Like the route that it seems like they're going right now is the most sustainable route of building a team that's going to win over a longer period of time rather than going for the flash in the pan type deals, right? So, of course, health and all that plays a part into hoping that that's going to be the case as well. But it seems like a major retool is coming. Doesn't mean that it is, but it does seem like that's the route that we're going right now. Retool, not necessarily blow it all up. And I know that's going to cause a little bit more triggering from some Bulls fans as well, but it definitely seems like that may be the case of where we're going. Now, if they start getting into a place where they're moving a Io DeSumo or moving a Kobe White to get some picks back, that's when you can start saying, oh, no, we're blowing this thing up. But, as of right now, it doesn't seem like that's what they're going to do. And so major retooling is coming, but that retooling can take a while before we get to the place that we want to be as a franchise. But thank you for that voicemail, Corn. Let's get into the next one. This one's from Simba.
Yo, what's going on is it's been a minute. This Simba. I have thoughts on Josh Giddey. It's not a bad trade. We going to miss Alex Caruso, but Giddey probably has a lot more upside than what AC has maxed himself out as. Because AC, he just developed three-point shot. It did something for us. He was our best three-point shooter last season. He's going to help the Thunder. But Giddey is kind of similar to what we've been missing with Lonzo minus the defense. And it's not that bad of a trade. Everybody needs to chill. And y'all need to stop calling bro a pedophile. The comments on that shit is crazy. But second thought, out of the Chicago franchises in, Chicago, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox, Bears, Bulls, Sky, which one do you think is going to win a chip? Like, name them in order. Who you think is going to win a chip? That's all I got. Y'all take it easy. Everybody be safe. Oh.
Listen, I absolutely agree with you. And I love that, after that, the first set of voicemails, it was all kind of like, oh, the Bulls are terrible. But it's like, kind of, I think after people have had some time to sit around with it, Giddey does have tons of potential left. And the people that say Josh Giddey sucks, you're just believing narrative. You're not actually looking at the ins and outs. Josh Giddey doesn't suck. Now, he's a flawed player, and I'm not saying at all that we should bet on him to become a star level player or anything, but he doesn't suck. And when you get an opportunity to kind of reset your roster and you're getting a young guy who still has some promise left to see how he's going to develop, now you got to try to invest in him and develop it. But it still is a lot of potential left in Josh Giddey. We just got to hope that if the Bulls see that in and they can develop it out of him. But they have a short runway for that because he has to be extended by the end of next season. So, hopefully he shows enough in what this Bulls offense is going to be to where you feel comfortable in giving him that type of deal. And if not, hey, you move off from him. I know that's going to cause even more, issues from Bulls fans, but at least they have that out as well if they do see it and Josh Giddey does come in here and is absolutely terrible. So we can look at that as well. But as far as which Chicago teams wins a championship first, I'll probably say it's tough because even the Blackhawks, they have Connor Bedard. They have a true generational talent that we know is generational right now. So it's easy to bet on them. The Sky, too, like the Sky and the Bears, they have a lot of young talent, but we need to still see develop with the Bears. We need to see how it's going to be on the actual football field. So I'll go right now, probably go Hawks, Bears, Sky, Cubs, Sox, Bulls. Maybe the Bulls above the Sox. Maybe the Bulls above the Sox, but that's probably how I'll go just off the top of my head. But thank you for leaving that voicemail, Simba. Let's get into the next one. This one's from Larry.
What up, man? It's Larry calling in. Just calling in after the Giddey trade. I'm overall fine with it. It's okay. It ain't great, but it's okay. I mean, you're getting a young player for a player that's 30 years old and he's got 1 year left on his deal. Because he was our best trade asset, he's part of the problem. So you need to go ahead and choose a direction like you were saying. I agree with that fully. I'm fine with it. He's got upside. If it works out, we got control of him for the next go around. I'm good with the trade. Second round pick I would like, but you're not going to get two first for him at this point with 1 year left and they got to pay him. That's just not going to happen now. They waited too long for that. That's over with. So overall, fine with the trade. That's fine. If that's what you need to do to go ahead and get this done. Okay. With Ball, this is kind of what AK was saying a while back. A couple of months to see how it was going to go. If they end up waiving and stretching them, I'm fine with that. Go ahead. That gives you another $13 million to work with for this year. And, give you some options. So I'm good with that. If that's what they're going to do, that's fine. If they can't, if they can't get off of the Beans deal or whatever they need to do, that's fine. I'm good with that. But appreciate it, Ace, and go Bulls.
I think Alonzo Ball buyout is more likely than a waive and stretch because why stretch money over years when you could just buy him out? And Lonzo Ball would, in a waive and stretch, he gets all his money. You do need the player to agree to a buyout. And because Lonzo Ball, he may not have other suitors for teams, he may not want or agree to a buyout because he may want all his money and he knows he's not going to get anything near that unless the Bulls give up a lot of money in the buyout. Let's say that his contract's $20 million. They agree to a buyout of $15 million. Signing for a vet minimum, a little over $2 million. So he's still getting most of his money, maybe in a case like that. But I don't think the waive and stretch is likely because why spend that and pay that money for him over years when you can either just wait for it to expire at the end of the season or buy it out. So I think either way, Lonzo's probably going to be here. But if he's not here, buyout is probably the most likely scenario in which he's not. That's kind of my thought process. But great voicemail there. Like, great question there, brother. All right, let's get into the last voicemail for today. And by the way, I know that a lot of you guys went off in voicemails. We'll probably have a nightly episode today that I'll drop to follow up on the voicemails. If not, they'll be on Monday's daily episode, so stay tuned for that. But this one's from Kate.
What's up, Hayes? It's your boy Caden again. Thank you for everything you do, bro. Like I said, I'm gonna say it every time. I got a lot to say, so I'm gonna try to condense my points as much as possible. First and foremost, Bulls fans' reaction to this Alex Caruso, Josh Giddey trade is just out of pocket. You can't have it both ways, and sometimes I think Bulls fans just want it both ways, and I don't understand that. It's like you can't keep players who keep us too good to suck, but also not good enough to make the playoffs, and then also expect this big change while keeping everybody that you want. No, you can't do that. We got a high upside young player with all-star potential. Like him or not, that's just reality. And I think if you use common logic, Giddey would probably be worth 2 first-round picks. So if you wanted 2 first-round picks for Alex Caruso, a Giddey Caruso trade straight up is a decent trade. I do think they should have got a first-round pick, but even in this straight swap, it's a decent trade, like just flat out. But that's not my point. My point is to talk about how Giddey, what no one else is talking about, how Giddey can actually help the Bulls. Has no one considered the fact that Giddey now allows for lineups where Julian Phillips is more usable, where Dalen Terry is more usable, assuming Patrick Williams is back, he's more usable. Like, past the Io and Kobe thing, now you can run jumbo lineups with 6'8" switchable defenders all over the court, and you got a 6'8" point guard. Like, these are just lineups we can run that other teams will be hard-pressed to match up with. Who can match up with that? Maybe the Celtics, maybe, well, the Raptors not even the same team anymore, so they probably can't match up with it. And you got to really think about it. When you shooting for these high upside young players like this, you don't know what you're going to get. Like when the Pacers traded an all-star, a multiple-time all-star for Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, we knew Halliburton was good. Did we know Halliburton will become this? So you have to make these trades and you have to take these chances. And this is what Bulls fans have been asking for. But when you get it, it's a problem. What are your thoughts on that, bro? I'm trying to keep it under 3 minutes. I know I'm pushing 3 minutes. But, yeah, man. Thank you for everything you do. It's your boy, Katie, man. I'm out of here. Let me know what you think.
Listen, the Bulls fans' reactions to the Josh Giddey trade is what Bulls fans react to everything. Like, there's very rare that Bulls fans are excited about anything. You look at the Alex Caruso signing. A lot of Bulls fans were negative on that. I was one of those guys, too. Let me be clear. I was one of those guys, too. Not that I thought that Alex Caruso was terrible. I was just like, all right, it's a cool signing, but he ended up being one of my favorite Bulls, right? The DeMar DeRozan signing. Now a lot of Bulls fans were as high on that, but then now a lot of Bulls fans, those same guys, like we can't let DeMar walk away, right? So it's always that pessimism with Bulls fans because we just haven't had the success in these type of things like we want to. So, I think that's ultimately what it comes down to, a lot of the doubt and pessimism, because we just haven't been on the right side on a lot of those things. So yeah, fans want it both ways, but ultimately fans just want to win. And we haven't really done a whole hell of a lot of that over the last decade. So as far as the running switchable lineups, yeah, you can do that. Josh Giddey's lack of defense hurts because he's not Lonzo Ball, where he's a very switchable player. But I do think he can run, right? We can run a much faster paced offense. If we get a center like a Khalil Ware, and you have a lineup that includes Josh Giddey, Kobe White, or Ayo Dosunmu, whatever lineup version of that you're looking at, Dalen Terry, Patrick Williams at the Dalen Terry probably at the 3, right? Or Patrick Williams probably moves back to the 3 if we don't have DeMar. If he is, he's at the 4. And then Khalil Ware, like that's a very, very quick lineup that can get out in transition and rebound well. Josh Giddey, a good rebounding guard. Kobe White showed himself to be a solid rebounding guard. Khalil Ware would be a really good rebounder. And in that case, DeMar has gotten really good rebounds at times as well. So you get that natural rebound and you can get out and run. I'm kind of more excited about that than the switchable aspect of the defense, but we'll see. We'll see, Caden. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys are following the show at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. BullCentralPod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. That's thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See Red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.